everyday life of the people in general after the period of the founding of the Christian religion. Your religion arose much later, and its contents were intentionally restricted by its creators, who had it in mind to lay particular stress on certain everyday customs. They did this because, at that time, there were clearly manifest both the decline of the Christian religion and the disappearance in ordinary people of the capacity for contemplation. That is, for the state in which alone the truths indicated in the detailedly genuine religious teachings can be understood. Having noticed all this, the great creators of the Mohammedan religion decided, on the one hand, to simplify the teaching itself, and on the other hand, to emphasize certain customs, so that the everyday life of the followers of this new teaching, who had lost the capacity for contemplation, and consequently the possibility of understanding truths consciously, might at least mechanically flow more or less tolerably. Just at that time, among other customs, they established and laid particular stress on the customs you mentioned of sunniyat, abdest, and polygamy, the beneficial results of which we can see even now in practice. For example, as you yourself have justly observed, thanks to circumcision and ablution, one rarely finds among the followers of this religion either onanism or certain venereal diseases. And thanks to polygamy, we see among the followers of this religion such a reciprocal, so to say, psycho-organic maintenance of the foundation of family life, as is almost entirely absent among the followers of the Christian religion. Of the useful customs originally contained in the Christian religion, and which are introduced by the creators of that religion into the life of its followers for the preservation of health and for the maintenance of the foundations of morality necessary for a happy life, nothing now remains except the custom of periodic fasting, that is, of abstaining at certain times of the year from the consumption of certain edible products. And even this one surviving good custom is already fading completely out of the ordinary life of the followers of this religion, or its observance is so changing year by year that no shock is obtained from it for the fasters, though it was just for that shock that this fast was established. The changes now taking place in the process of this Christian custom of fasting are very characteristic and provide an excellent example for understanding how, in general, all the good Christian customs have little by little undergone change, until they have finally entirely ceased to exist. A good illustration is the present-day observance of this fast by those called the Russian Orthodox Christians. These Russian Orthodox Christians took their religion entirely from those called the Orthodox Greeks, from whom, together with many other Christian customs, this same custom of fasting also passed to them. Most of the millions of these Russian Orthodox Christians still continue to fast, as is said, rigorously, in conformity with what is called the Orthodox Code now existing there. But as to the manner of their fasting, one cannot help recalling the saying of our dear Mullah Nasruddin in such cases: "Isn't it all the same if I sing like a donkey as long as they call me a nightingale?" The fasting of these Russian Orthodox Christians is just a case of this kind. As long as they are called Christians, and moreover Orthodox, even though they receive no shock whatever from the fasting, is it not all the same? As I have already said, these Russian Orthodox Christians, even of the present time, very strictly observe the seasons and the days of the fasts indicated in the aforesaid codes. But as to what should and should not be consumed as food during a fast, Just in that question is buried the left paw of the curly-haired dog of the ex-emperor Wilhelm. You will clearly understand how these contemporary Russian Orthodox Christians fast if I repeat to you the exact words of one of these genuine Russian Orthodox Christians, spoken to me not long ago there in Russia. I used to meet this Russian there on certain business and even became somewhat friendly with him and visited him in his home. He was considered by those around him a very good Christian and the patriarchal father of a family. He was descended from what they call the Old Believers. Here, my boy, you might as well know that certain of the beings who compose this large group, Russia, are called by the rest Old Believers. Old Believers is the name given to those Orthodox Christians whose ancestors several centuries ago declined to accept the new rules then laid down by somebody or other for Russian Orthodox Christians, but remained faithful followers of the previously existing rules also laid down by somebody or other only a century or two before the given religious schism, such as usually occurs among them from time to time. And so, the said worthy Russian Old Believer, I continued to the young Persian, once when we were dining together at his house in the company of several other Russians, also Orthodox Christians, turned to me and said, "Hey, old dear." By the way, I must tell you that it is common among the beings of this group there, after the second glass of genuine Russian vodka, to call their acquaintances by various pet names, such as Old Dear, my Zapupунchik, my pot-bellied beauty, my little brown jug, and so on and so forth. And so this worthy, genuine Orthodox Christian, addressing me as Old Dear, said, "Never mind, Old Dear, we shall soon be having Lent, and then we shall feast together on real Russian dishes." To tell the truth, here in Russia we almost always eat the same things during the meat periods, but it is quite a different story during the fasts, especially during Lent. Not a day passes but one is privileged to see some of the most tasty dishes. You know what, Old Dear? I made the other day a remarkably interesting discovery on this subject. This new discovery of mine is miles above the discovery of the old codger Copernicus, who, when he was once lying dead drunk on the ground, clearly sensed, it seems, that the earth goes round. Ah, what a marvel, what a discovery! In our own mother Moscow alone, hundreds of thousands of such discoveries are probably made every day. No, my discovery is a real one, and exceedingly instructive and substantial. This discovery of mine is that we have all been complete fools and hopeless idiots ever to have imagined and been fairly convinced that for the host of good, varied,